Hey, Crash, how you doing? Atki, how you doing? It's been fine. Glad. Thanks for joining, guys. Just doing a quick stream here on Sunday morning. You guys hear me okay? Awesome, thank you. Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, I still have CV1, dude. It's very frustrating. I'm not sure if you guys know this or not. I may have mentioned this before, but I'm like a software designer at the core of, you know, when I started in business, that's what I did. I wrote software systems, many different systems, in many different languages. I mean, I haven't coded in a long time, but I've kept up with technology, of how coding is done. And I work for a software company now, so I have a good understanding of that. And, the more I look at I'm obviously I'm observing this from. I got to get down here because I got to land here. Give me a second. 1 second. I'm just getting down to 3,500 feet. Just doing a quick run from. I got a couple of airports in California desert and Nevada area that I fly in FSEconomy, so that's what I'm doing now. But anyway, so just thinking. If you can only change X-Play settings in 2D, then switch to VR. Also have. Oh, interesting. Have to safely shut down X-Plane in 2D after every flight and restart it in 2D. Okay. I mean, yeah, that's a beta problem. I'm glad you told me that. I'll try that. I understand we're in beta, but these frustrations. I mean, I don't know if you just read my post on the VR Aviators Facebook thing or not, but basically, what I'm struggling with is I fly the Airbus DA62 a lot, right? And I've got that optimized. Right now I'm flying over the California desert at 45 frames per second, no stuttering. It's awesome. Right? But this same plane, I can fly in areas of the Northeast, like in some New Jersey airports, where there's pretty decent scenery and I get 45 frames per second. Then yesterday I was flying over rural Virginia, and at about 5,000 feet, and all of a sudden frames slowed down to like 11 frames per second and actually got down to like 2 frames per second and 1 frame per second. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I'm saying to myself, okay, I got scenery set to like I have objects set to low. I've got length of distance or sighted distance, whatever the hell it is, to like 60 miles. Memory leak, maybe. And I'm getting 11 frames in some areas and 45 in others. It doesn't make any sense to me. And, this is something that, I've seen before beta 5.0, right? Or .50. It's, to me, and I've got a decent system. It's not the most massive system now. It was built a couple of years ago, but it's an i7 6700 and a 1080 Ti and 32 gig of fast RAM and SSDs. So it's a pretty optimal system for X-Plane. I don't understand why I'm getting inconsistent frame rates. Okay, and this happened before this beta, right? And start to put this thing together. You start to put this puzzle together, and you look at CPU, and like I'm getting 11 frames per second, and the CPU is at 40%, the GPU is at like 30%. I mean, it's not the resources, it's not the hardware, it's the freaking software. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, it's got to be the software, right? Nothing else running except maybe Chrome, or maybe in the Oculus software, okay? But CPU is like 35-40%, GPU is like 30-40%. And the thing is like struggling. Yeah, I get the same thing. You get the jitters. Well, I have to run a browser, dude. I mean, what browser am I going to run? I don't think, I really just don't, I can't believe that running Chrome with X-Plane 11 is the problem. I just can't buy that. Especially when CPU is 60% is so so low. And right now I'm running Chrome, 2 windows open, and I'm flying over the desert. I'm getting 45 frames per second. So I appreciate that, but I don't believe that that's the problem. Okay, because I get jitters as well when I look out the left side window, because it's mostly scenery. But then when I look out the right window in VR, I get very little jitter because there's other scenery blocking it. Where the hell am I here? I gotta make sure I land properly. Did I miss my shit? No. Right now, really smooth. Super. I mean, there's still some jitter. Like I'm gonna look out here and you will see. some judder. See the judder, and that's not VR judder. That is CPU X-plane judder. Okay, and there's no freaking trees here. I got it at low. Okay, I have it at low. So I'm really. I got to tell you that I've been an X-plane user for a long time, and I understand. I paid $60 for it. 5-6 years ago, and I haven't paid a dime more, and I get that. Okay, but you know something? I think I would actually pay like a subscription fee if they actually kept the code up. Okay, and I think that's probably might be the reason why they don't pay a subscription fee. By the way, I can't see your chat right now. I don't have it in the window here because I'm landing. But again, back to my original thing. So I've got the coding background. Again, I haven't coded in a long time, but I keep up with technology. I strongly believe that X-Plane 11 code is old, unoptimized at its core, to not properly utilize modern CPU threading and modern GPU optimization as well. I just don't think they properly use the resources. It's a guess. I've never seen the code, but with the inconsistencies that I've seen, and I use this a lot, and I kind of look at it a lot. I mean, right now I'm landing in the California desert, and I've got pretty smooth rates at 45 frames per second. Now we'll see. I'm going to go fly over these mountains and go to Las Vegas, okay, and then I'm heading back to Yucca. But we'll see what it's like. Let me get my bird down here. 1 second. Hope you guys are doing well, by the way. It's been a while since I streamed. I hope everybody's faring well through the stay-at-home orders here in the Northeast. We've been at stay-at-home for over a month. Keeping occupied with stuff, that's for sure. Luckily, I work from home, so my job has not been interrupted. But I know a lot of people have had interruptions, and I hope you guys are doing okay. Let me get this thing down here. Really smooth right now, right? I like this. But this was fine before Vulcan. I mean, whenever I landed here, and I actually had objects higher. Right now I have objects at low. Before Vulcan, this was fine. So Vulcan really hasn't improved this, okay? What I was hoping Vulcan would do is improve the areas where you've got a lot of trees and a lot of dense scenery, but it hasn't. Now, again, I know it's beta, okay? I'm going to do a legal turnaround here. Sorry, guys. I got to fly over them mountains. All right, let's get get my passengers unloaded here. All right. Let's see. All right. Give me 1 second here, guys. Okay, start flight. I don't have much here, but we're gonna head over to Vegas, over the mountains, and then yeah, I understand. Vulcan has not. I'm running Vulcan now, dude, and it really. I mean, it's helped in some areas, that's for sure. I'll give it that, but um, it's just frustrating. And the frustrating thing about it is this. Okay, let me get this bird off the ground here. Oops. Sorry. Back on that center line. All right, coming up to 70 knots and rotate. Wheels up. Flaps up. Autopilot on. We should take me over those mountains at the 7800 and we'll fly into Vegas. But basically, hey, what's up, AL South, MIA, how you doing? Yeah, I agree with you, dude. I'm the same way. Like, well, let me paraphrase. Let me explain that. So again, this plane I'm flying now, the Aerobasque DA62. I fly this a lot. I found a little configuration that was causing major frame rate issues. It's in the G1000 configuration of this plane. You go into, let me just show you here if I can do that. If you're flying this plane, this is something that you should know about. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Okay, see. Oh, actually, if I do this, hold on. Okay, you guys can see this. Well, I guess you can't see it very well. Damn it. Well, to the G1000 configuration of the DA of the settings for the DA62, you have to turn off. Let me see what it's called. Give me a second, because I want to show you guys where it says enable G1000 MFD flight planning mouse feature. You got to make sure that's disabled, and also the one underneath it, the flight plan keyboard, disabled. You want to make sure those two are disabled, and that'll increase your frame rate from 20 to 45. All right, so that's a major step that you gotta take care of. Okay, and once I did that, I started getting really, really, really good frame rates with the DA62. But basically, once that happened, let me just make sure I'm going to get over the mountains here. What the hell? Okay. Once I did that, I was starting to get 40 frames per second, which was great. Okay. Okay. Let's just get this measured up here. But as I said, I'm running 11.50B Baker 4, so Beta 4. 45 frames per second in places like this, but 11 frames per second in places like, rural Virginia, or even some areas I was flying in central U.S. where I don't have, what do you call it, ortho scenery. Standard X-plane scenery, I was getting like 15 frames per second. I just don't understand it. So the problem is, I believe, could be wrong. And I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, I run this script and I tweak this, and that's fine. Okay, great. I'm glad you guys are getting if you're doing that, you're getting good, consistent frame rates. I personally believe that when you buy software, you shouldn't have to use third-party tools to tweak it to get it to work right. I think to me, that's opposed to the goal of developing well-performing software. Okay, you shouldn't have to rely on other tools to to improve utilization. The other thing is, I shouldn't have to spend $60 and have to constantly be on this quest to find the right configuration parameters. Okay, and then a new release comes out and you got to figure out what the new configuration parameters are. You're constantly chasing optimization, and I think that's, to me, as a customer, I'm done with it. Okay, I don't want to chase optimization anymore. When I buy a game, I know this is a simulator. I'm not getting into simulator versus game. But when I buy an application, let's say, that's supposed to be graphic intense, right? And it's a simulation, like Aerofly FS2, let's say, right? What did I pay for that? $69, whatever the hell it was. I don't have to worry about that. I set it on Ultra, and I never get a stutter. No matter where I fly in that world, I never get a stutter. Okay? I just don't understand it. With X-Plane, I've been using X-Plane for years, 5, 6 years, whatever the hell it is. Constantly on the chase for the optimum performance. And then when you get it dialed in one area and you fly to another area, guess what? It doesn't perform optimally. That, to me, there's a fundamental problem there. Okay? I may ruffle the feathers of the X-Plane 11 fanboys. I was a fanboy, okay? But I got to tell you, I got better things to do with my time than to be chasing configurations, chasing optimization for flight simulation software. Okay? I buy iRacing. I pay whatever it is for an iRacing subscription. I set it up one time, and it works any track, anywhere, any situation. It's fast. It's clean. Okay? Modern Warfare. My son uses my computer, my PC to play Modern Warfare, the Battle Royale. Pretty heavily, taxing on resources. He's got it set to pretty high ratings, and it flies on a 14.4 monitor at 165 hertz. Okay, I got the power to do that, and it flies. X-Plane 11, I believe, has fundamental design problems. Okay, I don't think it properly utilizes modern CPU design. I certainly don't think it properly utilizes modern GPU design. I think using the Vulkan engine is a good first step, but I think their underlying core code is old and needs to be redone. That's just my opinion. I've never seen it, but from a customer perspective, outside in, that's the feeling I get. Okay? So, I should be able to fly here over Nevada at 45 frames per second with everything nice and smooth, looking out the window, getting a little bit of micro stuttering, but nothing that's worth getting upset over. And then if I go to Roanoke, Virginia, and I use the same plane, and I take off there, again, with objects running at low, okay, so I'm not supposed to be taxing the CPU, because the object rendering is still done in the CPU, okay? I get 11 frames per second, or 20 frames per second, or 15 frames per second. I don't understand it, okay? To me, that's bad design. It should work the same wherever the hell you are in the world. In their simulated world, it should work the same no matter where you are. So that's my frustration with it. And I got to be honest, I'm tired of chasing. I'm going to check the comments here, guys, because I've been yapping a lot. AL South, you're right where I am. I shouldn't have to make mods to make it work. You're absolutely right. And Crash, you're using an RTX 2080. Okay, so you're probably the 30%, 40% more capacity than I have with a 1080 Ti. All right, so let's talk about Microsoft. Let's talk about Microsoft, MS 2020. Yeah, DCS works great for me. And I agree with you. I think DCS is great. But you got to remember, I like to fly GA. Okay, I like GPS, navigation, and all that stuff. And X-Plane is where it's at for that. Okay, it's got that capability, and especially if you combine it with Pilot Edge. Okay, you've got the 1-2, right? So you got you got the comms, and you got the comms, and you've got GPS navigation. You don't get that with DCS, I don't think. At least I don't think, and I know you don't get that with Aerofly. Flight Simulator 2020. Let's talk about that. All right. So the jury's out. I mean, I know it's an alpha right now. I'm not testing it for alpha. Word is it's pretty damn good in alpha. Not going to have VR first release, is what I'm hearing. Not going to have GPS nav first release is what I'm hearing. Hope that's wrong. Okay, but to be honest with you, I agree with you. If Flight Simulator 2020 has the performance, has VR, has GPS nav, has real world comms, works with FSEconomy, which I'm assuming FSEconomy is going to write a client for it, okay, because they love Microsoft stuff. Maybe it could work with Pilot Edge. I don't know, okay? But if that's the case, I would strongly consider switching. Because I don't want to be a tweaker anymore. I'm tired of tweaking. Better get down here. I am tired of tweaking. Okay? For me, I want to set it and forget it. Okay? And I want it to work the same no matter where I'm flying. Okay? That's my problem. Yeah, I might try that sim. I heard the new was pretty good. I heard the new system's pretty good. So, I mean, I like Pilot Edge. I just got out of it, because I just was doing other things and I wasn't using it as much. Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I think I think we're at a point now where it's like the grass is always greener, right? So we're gonna know. We know that Microsoft is developing the simulator based on state-of-the-art software engineering practices and data architecture practices. Okay, we know that they must be. It's Microsoft. Okay, we know that X-Plane 11 has been around for 5 years. Okay, and software design. Did they design it optimally in the beginning? Hopefully they did. But software design, can change a lot every year, for Christ's sake, right? So, there's a very good chance that I don't know why for some reason I'm not showing my controller in the view here. But anyway, yeah, it's very tempting to say yes. I'm going to be looking forward to checking out FS 2020. I'm going to be, right. But it's got to have some things. It's got to have, for me, it's got to have GPS, and it's got to have real world comms and all that. I'll put up with the stuttering in X-Plane 11 because of those things. All right, we're landing here in Vegas. Yeah, I'm just flying without protocol here, so because I'm ranting. I'm just, I guess it's to the point where it's been a couple of years now chasing the elusive, ultimate configuration. I've resisted using add-on scripts like Fly with Lua and all that stuff. I don't want to use that. I actually had some bad experience. Oh,
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
thanks for the follow there, dude. Appreciate that. I don't know. It's just frustrating. You know, I better get my gear down, otherwise I'll screw the pooch here. So let's see. We're coming into Vegas here. I just want to check my frames. All right, so I'm down to 26 frames per second. Okay, so I was 45 frames per second while I was over those mountains, and now as I've come into play here, I'm now down to 26 frames per second, and I'm starting to notice stuttering. You know, every second or two you see a big rip in stuttering. Okay. And normally I'm supposed to say, oh, well, I can understand that because we're coming into Vegas and we have building. Bullshit, man. I shouldn't have to give excuses for the software. I paid for this software. Why is it stuttering? Why did the frames go from 45 to 26? That's poor design. It's poor design. Okay? It's not my problem. It's Laminar's problem. I'm tired of making excuses for this software. I'm just tired of it. Okay? So let's say, I want to fly in Las Vegas, and I want it to be 45 frames per second so I don't get stuttering. You can see here I'm stuttering, right? I'm on the ground rolling, and you can see the stuttering, okay? If you can't see it, I'm telling you it's there. Okay? So here's my dilemma. I'm over there at at L74, whatever the hell it is. It's 45 frames per second. Now I'm here on the tarmac, and it's 27 frames per second. I dropped 20 frames per second within 6 miles. Okay, and that is because why? Because I have airport scenery. Okay, so it's obvious that's the reason why, right? Well, okay, put me into Aerofly FS2. That doesn't happen. I maintain 45 frames per second no matter where the hell I am. So what's the difference there? Is it me trying to configure it to make it work? Or is it the way that Laminar has designed their software? I say it's the latter, okay? I say it's the latter. I say it's the way Laminar has designed their software. Okay? That's the problem I have with this software. The constant inconsistency. Oh, lower your objects. Okay, well, my objects are are low right now. At the lowest setting. My objects are the lowest, like they can't go any freaking lower. Okay? So my objects are the lowest setting. Right? I'm at 26 frames. I'm sitting here at 20, let me put my glasses on. 26, 27 frames per second. Oh, daughter, how you doing? You can only say I'm an alpha and I no longer fly X-plane. Doubter, I know you can't say much, okay? And I'm not asking you to say much. I hope I'm pronouncing your name. Give me a second here. So it would be really interesting to know, are frame rates consistent throughout the entire virtual world within? That's one question I have. The only question I have right now, okay? Are frame rates consistent within the entire virtual world? Can you answer that? That would be really good. They impose a penalty if you go under 19 frames per second, you'll get kicked out. Huh. Interesting. Well, that would happen a lot to me. me get my plane up in the air here. I mean, I do like the planes in X-Plane. I'll give you that. I mean, they're very nice. A lot of eye candy, but... And the thing is, when you compare... Like, here's the other thing. I was looking at a video, I think I posted in the VR Aviators group. When you compare the scenery quality in X-Plane to what they're proposing in FS 2020, there's no comparison. FS 2020 looks amazing. Now, I know it's marketing, okay, and they're going to, make things look, probably better than they are in real life. But this looks like Lego buildings compared to what you see in what they're showing in Microsoft. Let me get my autopilot on here. Should fly up to... See, what are we getting here? We're back up to 35 now. All right. No problem, daughter. I understand that. Yeah, so flight modeling is absolutely number one concern about FS 2020. Flight modeling is the number one thing, okay? If they've got that right, you're going to see a lot of people defecting. I really am concerned for Laminar because I think that there's a lot of people like me and you guys that are frustrated, okay? I think what Laminar did here is they kind of I'll check out that video. I think Laminar and Austin kind of sat back on their laurels because they had a big ownership of the flight sim market for so long. They were better than NFS 10, and they had all the bells and whistles that made them better than P3D and all those others. So I think they kind of sat back on their laurels, and they kept the code running on. I'm not going to call it shit code. I'm just going to call it old code. All right, they kept it running on old code. Okay, so now they're going to have to pay the piper because you got a major organization, multi-billion-dollar company, okay, throwing resources at this market. Okay, now, do you think that knowing Microsoft, I don't know if you guys have been involved with HoloLens and all that. So I had access to a HoloLens when it first came out. And it was clearly designed for business, commercial use. I would venture to say that, if Microsoft is as smart as we all think they are, that there will be a consumer version of FS 2020 and there will be a commercial version of FS 2020. I think that I know Laminar makes a lot of money in the commercial side. Okay, I would be very concerned if I was Laminar right now because Microsoft is developing this platform again with based on modern technology. By the way, I'm back up to 45 frames per second. Modern technology. They're using all of their resources to their data point resource to be able to develop it. I'm sure they've got industry people involved, okay? I would say that it will go beyond consumer. And if that happens, Laminar's in trouble. Because Laminar is going to continue to have these consistencies. Now, it won't be overnight, but, I will tell you that when I'm going to buy it when it comes out, okay? FS 2020. I'll fly it in 2D, which will kind of suck, okay? I'm hoping that Fly Inside will come up with a VR, third-party VR add-on like they did with FX10. They probably will, all right? But if everything looks good and the frame rates are consistent and the scenery is great and all those things, the flight model is right, and all of a sudden then they come out with native VR, I'm done. And they have all the things that we want, like GPS and comms and all that stuff. I'm going to be done with X-Plane. I'll be done with X-Plane. Because, I mean, I have a lot invested in X-Plane. I've got a 6 terabit hard drive I had to buy. It was only $200, but still. I had to buy a hard drive to hold my ortho. Okay? Now, I'm hearing that Microsoft is going to be about 180 gig. Okay, so that's fine. I'll have to find 180 gigs somewhere to run that on an SSD probably. Okay? But if the frame rates are consistent and the flight modeling is good and I don't have to spend hours tweaking shit every time a new release comes out, well, guess what? I'm going to be a happy camper, and I think a lot of other people are going to be happy campers. So, and I said this before when I first started seeing the videos of Microsoft 2020, that Laminar really needs to be careful. They really need to think about where they are. Okay, I'm sure that they're rushing Vulkan out because they want to get ahead of the curve. I personally think that there's been some improvement with Vulkan, but I think we were all expecting like a 50%, like a noticeable improvement. But I think the improvement has been minimal because of the fact, and again, this is my belief, that they don't properly optimize CPU. It's a CPU bound software design, right? They're not using, they're using hyper threading and all that stuff, right? That's available in modern CPUs. They're not really utilizing the CPU properly. I mean, all the drawing, I understand drawing. Well, I guess I don't understand why they're doing scenery drawing in the CPU. Why can't the GPU do scenery drawing? Doesn't games like, Modern Warfare and iRacing and Project Cars and all those other, Fortnite, don't they use the GPU to do scenery drawing? Right? I would think that they do. I mean, a GPU is basically a computer, right? It's a computer contained on a card. It's got its own CPU. It's got its own memory. It's geared towards graphics, but it's basically a computer inside your computer, right? So I don't understand why X-Plane needs CPU to draw objects. I understand that's the design, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with that design. Why does number of objects have an effect on CPU? Why am I... Here's a great one that I thought about. I said last week, oh, Eureka, if I get rid of all the trees, I'll improve optimization, right? So I started to look into getting rid of the trees, and you can do that through the data reference and whatever. And I tried to do it. I wasn't able to make it happen, but I'm sure if I really put my time in, I could figure out a way to get rid of all the trees in X-Plane. But I stopped myself, and I said, you know what? Why am I spending my time doing this? To remove scenery because the software doesn't function properly with it in there. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm no longer going to be doing this. And I know I said this years ago because I got to the same point where I was, when VR first came out at X-Plane, I was constantly trying to figure out, like everybody else, the best optimized configuration. And we went through using Fly with Lua and all these scripts and, the automatically doing the line, limited distance and all these things. And then I got to the point where I was like, it was too much to manage. And I'm like, why am I I got other shit to do in my life. I got to spend hours figuring out how to tweak this software. Doesn't make any... Here's what I want to do. I want to turn the software on. I want to load up the plane. I want to fly the plane. That's what I want to do. I don't want to spend hours tweaking the freaking software. Right? That's just me. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. Let me see where I am here. We got a ways to go. We got about 80, 90 miles, about 100 miles to go. See, right now it's a pleasant experience. I'm looking out the window. Everything's moving very smoothly. I'm at 45 frames per second. Got great scenery. Even when I look out the left window, nice and smooth. That's how it should be. No juddering, no stuttering, no muttering. Everything is nice and smooth. It's become my mantra when it all goes wrong. 70% tweaking, 30%. Yeah, right? Yeah, you're not the only one, dude. You're not the only one. You're not the only one. It's yeah, and again, I understand this is beta software, and I get that, okay? And hopefully, although I'm not holding my breath, hopefully they'll tweak their software to get it to where Vulkan is working better. But you're never going to, right now, you're not going to get around the poor design around CPU optimization. I just think that's the problem with their software, okay? I should be able to run objects at high. With my system, I should be able to run objects at least at medium, but I can't. I have to run them at low. It's a shame. It's a shame. But anyway, that's why I've got other things I do. Like I'm getting into iRacing now. I'm gonna buy F1 2019. That looks really cool. I might start doing some of that, streaming that online. Do other stuff. But I do love to fly in VR. It's a great feeling. I get a lot of joy out of it. Okay, like you guys get joy out of flying, whether you're in VR or 2D. I get a lot of joy out of it, and I would just like it to be. I would like it to be less tweaking and more simming, like Crash says. Crash has it right. More simming, less tweaking. Stormworks, build and rescue. What is that about? What's Stormworks about? Let me just see. Stormworks, build and rescue. Oh, interesting, man. Oh, looks cool. Yeah, I might try that. Gotcha. That's pretty cool. It looks like fun. Yeah, I've been actually spending more and more time on my music, like, guitar playing and stuff. There's a really, really cool website called Jam Kazam that I've been involved with for quite some time. It basically allows you to jam online in real time with people all over the world, which is pretty cool. All right, AL South, thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you here soon. I'm going to be trying to stream a little bit more frequently. But keep the faith, and we'll talk to you soon.
09er, clear for Vector 324.
We have clearance, Clarence. Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
All right, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Let me see if I can get my, working. Where the hell is my? Give me 1 second here. There you go. I just turned on the alert box, so you should be able to see that now. And we'll get the chat up there. Why not? Yeah, I mean, I still really do like FSEconomy and all that. It's just, I get a kick out of that. It's fun to play. It's fun to do. I just, oh, what are we doing here? Oh, making our turn onto tap. As you can see there, 40. We got about 90 miles to go over the beautiful California desert. Crash, do you play any racing games? Like iRacing or any of those? iRacing is actually pretty cool. $747. I haven't figured out how the all-ins work. You're big into iRacing? Okay. Oh, let's talk about that. So, oh, I see. So you were into it, and then oh yeah. So I got into iRacing. Let's see, about a month, a couple weeks ago. Always wanted to check it out. Decided to sign up. For I think I signed up for 90 days or whatever. Anyway, I tried it in VR, and I get VR sickness when I race iRacing in VR. Now, I used to race project cars in VR, and I never had a problem. But there's something about iRacing. I don't know if it's the frames, and the frames look like they're keeping up close to 90. But every time I race iRacing in VR, I get VR sickness. I don't, and it'll be to the point where the last time I did it, I was like, I'm not doing this again, man. And I tried having a fan on myself and, all that, but I like it in 2D too. I don't mind racing it in 2D. But I just can't get past the motion sickness. I don't know what it is. I've played a lot. My VR callus is pretty high. I've played a lot of, space games where you're doing 6 degrees of movement, and things can get really disoriented sometimes. But I never ever had a puking feeling. Only time I ever get that is when the frames aren't keeping up, to about 90 frames per second. Maybe it's because I had AWS turned on, or on auto, I should say, when I'm doing iRacing. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I need to use AWS. I'll try that next time, but for some reason, I just, I could take it for a little while, but then all of a sudden it starts to get to me, and it sucks because I would really like to race in VR. Racing in VR is awesome. I think it actually can give you an edge because you can judge corners better and stuff like that because you're looking at them in 3D, Oh, maybe. Maybe that's why. I'm gonna research it. Oh, I see. Yeah, Dirt Rally is made by Code, whatever the same guys that do the F1 2019. Oh, is F1 2019 VR? I'm not sure if it is or not. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, you like the endurance racing. I like F1. I love watching F1. High speed corner taking and stuff like that. I think it's really cool. Anyway, I'm getting into racing. So I hope you guys didn't mind my rant, my X-Plane 11 rant. I just it's been building up, building up, building up, and finally I'm just kind of blew today. Code a new circuit in the sim. This 2-minute trailer seems to be a modern F1 car. Ah, okay, cool. I will. I'll check that out. I'll check that out. Are those Indy cars, I guess? I think those are Indy cars. I don't think they have F1 cars in iRacing that I could see. They're all like Indy. Yeah, I think it's Indy. Yeah, I think all those open wheel cars now have the halo. That started in like 2018, I think, or 2017. But yeah, I mean, F1 is definitely known for that. But I'll check it out. It looks cool. I like the open wheel racing. And actually, I seem to get less VR sickness when I'm in open wheel versus inside a car. All right, cool. Thanks. Yeah, just post it in the chat. It'd be awesome. Let me check it out. Yeah, this is IndyCar. Nice. Nice. This takes all his turns in first gear. I mean, I should say sharper turns. Here's 1 second. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Nice, thank you, man. Keep that and check that out. Yeah, maybe I'll do some iRacing after this. You know, the one thing I don't like about iRacing is that they don't allow you to use a username. You have to use your real name. I don't like that. I mean, I like to stream. I like to stream it, but I don't want to use my real name on a stream. To be honest with you. So that's kind of limiting. I think that I don't understand why that they think that's going to make anything better. But all the other racing games, none of them require that. Yeah, I mean, I just don't get the idea behind that. That's someone's flawed logic. That doesn't deter people from, doing bad shit on there. It doesn't, that's flawed logic. They should allow you to have. They would probably be a lot larger if they allowed usernames. Because people would stream it. They probably feel like you and I. We feel uncomfortable publicly displaying our name while you're on iRacing. I mean, I'm not gonna. I'm probably never gonna stream that because of that. Yeah, they should allow you to at least turn it off. Right? They should allow you to at least not display your name. But like I said, it's somebody's flawed logic that they think that is going to keep people from violating the rules and regs of iRacing. There's a flaw there. It doesn't, honor. You should, above all, you should honor people's privacy, in my humble opinion. Crash, let me ask you a question. Because you're using a RTX 2080. So, do you have thread optimization set to? What do you have thread optimization set to? What do you have pre-rendered VR frames set to? That'd be interesting to know in your NVIDIA settings. Oh, you have it. Okay, so you have a 1080. What do you, in your NVIDIA settings? What do you have those two things set to? The thread optimization when running X-Plane. Do you have it in your NVIDIA settings? Does X-Plane override your standard settings? Because all right, because the way mine's set up is X-Plane has its own program settings in my NVIDIA setup, and it overrides, and it sets threaded optimization to on. Now that's a CPU function. Yeah, I'm talking about in 3D, the 3D application. So I have threaded optimization to on, rendered VR frames to 4, or pre-rendered, I should say, to 4. Well, I could pull it up and tell you what the hell I have here. But that's the other thing. Like X-Plane, they don't give you recommendations on how to set up your graphics card. Image sharpening is off. I've got anti-aliasing off. Well, let me look at the program settings. Because what happens is when you run X-Plane, it overrides shit. The two it's overriding is threaded optimization and triple buffering. Both of those are on. The global settings are auto and off. Oh, no problem. All right. Have a safe landing there, dude. I feel better now that I got all that off my chest. Oh, yeah, I never flew Zebo. I'm not into the big jets, man. I'm a GA flyer, you know. I heard it's pretty cool though. All right, so let's see. We're 30 miles. I could probably start heading down here in altitude. Let's get down to take it down to 55. If you ever fly an FSEconomy GA and you want to fly some cool airplanes, come over to my airport, L22, Yucca, in California. I've got a DA. Well, there's some decent planes there. If you want to fly, check it out, and or fly your plane here or whatever. And I got 4 airports in this area that I fly into, so it's a pretty cool area. Very mountainous desert area. Yeah, Zebo is free, huh? Now you're going to get me into that, and then I'm going to spend hours on that now. 737. Yeah, it looks really tempting, dude. I'm not gonna dive in, because if I dive into that, then I'm gonna be spending hours trying to learn how to fly that thing. And I got the DA62 down. I got the SR22 down. I got the PC12 down. BD1900 I haven't flown in a while, but those are my 3 mainstays. Those 3 planes: PC12, DA62, and the Cirrus SR22. Although, what do you call it? The Advanced Flight Simulation's coming out with they're working on a new Cirrus. I fly the Cirrus SR20 from V-Flight Air, but Advanced Flight Modelers coming out with a Cirrus SR22 Turbo, which is supposed to be pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to get down to 4,200 here. So this is going to be my last flight of the day. I just wanted to get on here, say hello to you guys, and get the Zebo updater. Yeah, I'm not going to do it, dude. I appreciate it. I know people love it. They're totally into it. I'm not going to make the jump into commercial, because commercial is a whole different ball game. Then I'm going to be like compelled to learn how to fly that thing and learn the systems and all that. I just don't have the time, man. I'll be happy and content flying GA. Get the feeling for taking off and landing. That's what it's all about. So, yeah, I tried getting helicoptered. And I was spending some time doing that. That's probably, I'd be into doing that. Easier systems, different flight model, obviously. Yeah, thanks, man. I've been thinking about streaming, getting back into it for a while. I'm going to try to do it every Sunday morning. I think that's a good time. Yeah, I agree with that on helicopters. I think it's a great use case for VR. I totally agree with you. I mean, I think flight sim overall is a great use case for VR. You know, especially with widened field of view. I mean, you got limited field of view with Oculus. Unless you go to the Pimax, you got pretty limited field of view. That's going to change. I'm hoping that Oculus is next. I don't know if you have a Rift S or not. I've never got a Rift S because I tried one on. It just wasn't comfortable. And I know that it's better resolution, but it's not designed by Oculus. It's designed by Lenovo, whoever, and I just feel like they bolted on Oculus software onto it. I'm hoping that Oculus comes out with the CV2, which is better field of view and better density, but it's based on the Oculus cloth kind of design that's breathable and lightweight. That's what I'm hoping happens. I'll buy that one. Yeah, I have American Truck Simulator. No, I don't think Farming Simulator is VR. Train Sim VR would be awesome. There is one called Derail Valley. Check that out. Derail Valley. That's VR. That's a train simulator that's VR. They're coming out with a new release that's supposed to be pretty awesome. Derail Valley. Check that out if you're into trains. American Truck Simulator. They've got a bolt-on VR. I remember I haven't tried it in a long time. The last time I tried it, I was getting a little bit ill because they weren't keeping up with the frames. But yeah, I might try that one again. I liked American Truck Simulator. It got a little boring there a little bit, but especially with the multiplayer model, that was kind of cool. Trucker MP, whatever it was. I haven't played that in a long time. Quest, yeah, I heard the Quest is nice for because it's basically no wires. Yeah, I would be interested to hear how that works with X-Plane. If that, I know that they don't support it. Yeah, that's something I was thinking about. What's the Quest like? $200 or $300, something like that. It's got better resolution than the Rift, and obviously you don't need all the the sensors and all that. Yeah, if that works with X-Plane, that would I remember reading about that. And I never followed that down. I'm gonna look into that because I would consider that if it works well. And I would have to have two things with the Quest with X-Plane. It's got to work well, obviously. And I have to be able to use Oculus Mirror to be able to stream what I'm seeing. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but I have to check that out. Anyway, I think I got to land a plane here. Give me a second here. All right, so we're... Gonna be turning in here into Yucca. 7.5 miles into Yucca. We're gonna be landing on, what the hell are we landing on? I think it's 20. Don't remember. But we'll figure it out. Is that me over there? This gets a little confusing because it's got a lot of roads that look like runways. That's the other... Okay, last rant about X-Plane. Why, to get decent scenery, do you have to spend hours and hours building ortho? Why doesn't X-Plane just do that themselves? It's odd. Anyway, all right, there's my runway. Let's slow this brig down. Get my flaps, my trim set for landing. My runway's right there. All right, let's put some flaps in her. Making my turn here. Wheels down. 3 green. I really should have the fuel pumps on while landing. Make sure the fuel's getting to the engine. All right, flaps to full. We're on final. Nice and smooth, probably running at 45. Yep, running at 45. Now, I will tell you that the other day I was landing this exact same path, exact same plane, and I was getting 24 frames per second. Today I'm getting 45. Why? Why? And today I'm running OBS on the same computer. I've got Oculus Mirror open. I've got Streamlabs open, and I'm getting 45. The other day I was landing in the same exact way, same exact place, with none of that other crap opened, and I was getting 26. Why? Why? What's the answer to that question? How the hell am I ever going to answer that question? You can't, because why? Because the code is fucked. That's why. That's why. You can't answer that question, because it's a code issue. Whether we like it or not. Landed safely at Yucca. Make our turn. Yucca's nice because it's a community airport where you can park where you live. We'll just say that this is our hangar right here. Beautiful. And there's our plane. I always say it looks kind of like a wasp. All right, let's shut this baby down. Fuel pumps off. Come on. Fuel pumps off. Let's see. Aviator master off. Electronics master off. And let's see. Shut this down. Beautiful. Am I in B4? Yeah, I'm in beta 4. Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, listen, I appreciate you stopping by. Crash, thanks for chatting, everyone. I'm going to look into the quest on X-Plane because I think it would be kind of cool to do. Just show you this plane here. There's my plane. And I'm going to try to make this a regular Sunday thing, guys. So I think hence once you switch to OBS encoding... Switch your OBS encoding because X-Plane is using more GPU. Wait. So what you're saying, I think... No. I mean, what I'm saying is, like, I would just landed there at 45 frames per second with all this other shit running. And the other day, I had none of this running, and it was 20 frames per second. 26, 25 or 26 frames per second. It was 20 frames per second less. and all that shit wasn't running. That's why I'm saying you can't, it's like a moving target, you know? And I'm just tired of, trying to find the bullseye. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Crash. Hopefully, I'll be here back next week on Sunday. Stay safe, everyone. Social distancing and do the right thing, guys. Take care, man. Take care. Bye-bye.